Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Zoom event, Utter Declutter, with Cindy Robideau. She's a Twin Cities-based professional home organizer. Her background is in hotel management and hospitality before she made the move to organization of home and office space, working with people in both Minnesota and Wisconsin. I'm Stacy Falvey, and I'm the Adult Services Librarian at the Lake City Public Library. And we're very glad that she can be with us tonight and that those of you who are here are able to join us tonight as well. Because we've got a small group, please feel free to ask questions as we go along with the presentation. And Cindy would be happy to address those questions as we go along. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can also use that chat feature on your screen. You can do it that way too, and send them to me though. And then I can, ask the questions. But again, it's a small group. I hope you feel comfortable just asking your questions as we go along. Also, just to throw out there too, if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint presentation tonight, we're also going to share a tip sheet with some different resources that we have at the library or that are also available through Selco. If you want, excuse me, if you want copies of those, I would be more than happy to either email those to you, or if you would like to pick up a printed copy at the library of either one of those, you can just send me a note in the chat feature and let me know which it is that you want, and if you want it printed out to pick up, or if you want to have that emailed to you. And we can do that. So with that, then I am going to turn it over to Cindy.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm Cindy Robideau. I own Utter Declutter, and like she said, like Stacy said, and I appreciate them having me here today. So just a couple of things I put up on organizing. One of the big deals is basically the new year. So everybody kind of does a new you for the new year. And so I thought goals are a big deal of organizing. I honestly live by them, and some SMART goals is, and I'll show you what that means here in just a second, is a big deal for organizing. We're going to do some strategies for keeping it organized and maintaining that and maintaining good habits, and just some tips for a clutter-free home. Let me see. These are the SMART goals that I talked about. They're specific goals, measurable goals, attainable goals, relevant, or realistic. They have to be, and then some time-bound goals. So those are what I start out with. And let's say you want to get your whole house clean this year. For example, this is what your goal is. So I wrote a yearly goal is to have each room in my home decluttered and cleaned. The monthly goal I would have in that fact then would take a room per month and go with organizing each room per month. If you do have something coming up, like a graduation or wedding or something like that this summer maybe, and you wanted everything, decluttered, I would maybe try one room every week as a weekly goal. I've got that coming up here too. So a weekly goal I have would be to take any unwanted items to donation or drop them off at a recycle or trash. If you don't have anyone to take them, sometimes there's companies that will come and pick up items that are unwanted, and they'll take them to their store or what have you. But sometimes you just need to have a place to take that stuff. If you are going to declutter and or throw out trash, you need to have a specific location it's going to go to. So that's a big deal. Pick a daily goal. Here's the fourth goal. I know it seems like a lot of goals, but they go really quick, and they're some of them are real simple. But just picking up items on the floor in the living room, like we're working on, for example, for the month, I would just make sure everything stays maintained, clutter free in that room, at least that one room. So then next month you have your bathroom decluttered, and you can have both the bathroom and the living room on your daily goal. It goes real quick sometimes too, to just maintain that clutter-free space. Habits can take about 60 days to develop, so don't ever get discouraged. I mean, a lot of times it takes, some people a month, some people, a year to have a good habit. But habits are hard to break, so even good ones. So being accountable for those two, telling a friend or a family member you're going to be decluttering, and maybe they can help you. You know, there's a lot of times people will say, oh, let me help you do that. Sometimes people don't want somebody that's not you know, that's in their personal life, in their personal business. So I mean, if that's the case and you do need help, just calling a professional would be a good idea. Giving yourself credit every day when you do accomplish your goals. And just make sure to always do something instead of nothing. There's so many people that do not know where to begin, and you just start it anywhere at all. Scheduling a time that you're most likely to be successful is a big one for goals. You know, personally, like if you're better in the morning, try it in the morning. Timers also help. I use them too. So 10 minutes, you just time it, ready, go, pick up for a few minutes. Making a checklist as you use your goals is a lot easier for you. And then like I said, don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's a hard thing to do, but it will help you so much. So here's the end result. You're going to have your entire home clean if you master that yearly goal. Your monthly goal, like I said, just choosing one room a month, you should have your whole house covered. Weekly goal, try something new all the time, like a load of laundry a day for a week. You know, you could try something like that and then see if you get caught up. Do things like that. A daily goal is try something daily that has to do with the room that you're decluttering, like I talked about. Now, one big thing is, and does anybody have questions at all for anything so far? No. One big thing is a drop zone. When you come into the home, you're going to have keys, coats, you know, shoes, all of this. You need to have a place to put it. You have to be realistic. You know it's coming in, and you have to put it somewhere. So making a drop zone or like a command center is a good idea. Everybody really needs one. So I've made a lot of those for folks. If you don't have a lot of space in the area that right when you walk in the door, you can use things like the parts of the kitchen. Like if you did have to use the end of the kitchen, a drawer maybe, or something designated to a specific place for the mail, the keys, and the coats. So you don't have to go back and re-put them away again, because sometimes we just drop them off and then we have to go back and put them away. So put them in their final destination. Just make it easy for you. So when you go again, you can just grab it and go. And you always know where your keys and everything are. I do say avoid the kitchen counters if you can, only because we make them junk drawers and then we put everything in them. So if you can just designate something, that's great. Or dining room tables, try to stay away from them too, from dropping everything on. If you do want to stay away from that, a good way to do that is to put something large, maybe a basket with some decoration in it, so you don't put keys and everything on it. Using baskets and hooks. Try giving each family a member their own hook. For kids, that's really helpful. They can hang up their own coats and their bags and everything. So there's the drop zone. It's a big deal for folks. Now, some office advice, just in a small office, or even in the bathroom, sometimes using tiered shelves or floating shelves, just the ones that set up right behind you for things that you might need. A lot of times, those are helpful. And then utilize drawer organizers. Those are a big deal too. For some people, really, really helps. They're similar to the silverware drawers, but they're a little bit, you know, everybody has their own items in there sometimes, and it really helps. Leaving just pens, computers, and a lamp on your workspace really helps for office area anyway. Everything else, like decoration, maybe a little decoration, but other than that, try to keep it behind you or in your drawers. And conceal cords with covers or hooks. That's a big deal for some folks, I guess, and not myself. But if you have a lot of cords or things like that you want to cover up, there's ways to seal them together and kind of conceal them. Using dry chalkboards or cork boards for notes is a good idea, so they're not spread all over your desk. And rolling organizers work really well for small files. If you can just slide it under your desk or pull it out or what have you. So those work really good.
Hey, Cindy, could I interrupt for a second?
course.
I had I had one person send me a chat with a couple of questions. So she said she's curious
Sure.
about earmarking items to sell. Does
Uh-huh.
this slow progress? She said Marie Kondo seemed to suggest this.
Okay,
So you want to address that? And then
sure.
also, then she had another question.
Sure. For if you do want to sell items and such, what I typically do for decluttering, I take 3 different boxes and say, okay, this box is designated to, well, with selling, you want 4 different basically piles, and one is going to be just to keep. One is going to be you're just not sure yet, because some of you will run into those. I don't know where it goes exactly, and I can't decide right this moment. That goes in there, pile there, and then you're going to have the selling pile, and then you're going to have the dispose of pile. So, but when you do sell some items, you can go ahead and just, I don't know if you wanted to sell those online. Typically, that's kind of the way I would ever go about it. It's very time consuming. So if you do have some items, maybe pick the higher end items that you wanted to sell. Basically, I go, if it's not $20, for example, I don't know that it's worth a lot of time sometimes, because it does take your time up, but it's a good idea when you've got some items that you just don't want to let go of because you did spend so much money on them, for example. Is that kind of what you were?
I think so.
Okay.
Then she also had any ideas on keeping momentum while also holding items
Okay,
that are,
mementos, or yeah,
or,
like,
oh, keeping your momentum going, like
oh,
just.
your momentum, keep going. Okay. Yeah, motivation is
Mhm.
hard. So that's the one thing that I keep goals for, because I do um give myself a reward at the end when I'm done. I mean, even if it's, just going out to dinner or something like that, because it's a big deal when you have these accomplishments. So personally, keeping goals is a way to keep momentum. Also, music is another one for a lot of people. A lot of times my clients will play music and just kind of go with it and stuff like that. Mhm. Okay, so let me go to the next.
How about an entire
Okay.
chocolate cake for a reward?
That is okay. Yes, I don't mind that, Donna. I
Hey.
really like your idea. I'm going to write that down.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, in a bathroom where you have small space, a lot of times people have a really small bathroom. Using shelves on a bare wall, like if it's just when you walk into the bathroom and there's just a wall there and a mirror, for example, you can put shelves on that wall. There's no reason that can't have shelves there. I've done nail polish in a Lazy Susan rack, so you can spin it around and find your color. On the door racks are huge, or hooks are big in bathrooms. We talked about this earlier, storing toilet tissue kind of vertically up and down. They do make containers for those that stand up. Those are handy. And putting cabinets behind picture frames. I've seen a picture where you don't even realize it's a medicine cabinet and you open it up and that's what it is. So those are kind of nice for a bathroom. And then I just say, remember, life gets messy. So it's okay to have a little mess, but just start somewhere. We have a sign at my house that says now is always the perfect time, because it is. It's very rare that you will go back to something and try to do it again later. So that was pretty much most of that for you. Okay. And then there's the tip sheet, some tips that Stacy was going to bring up, and we can kind of go over those if you like.
Yep, bear with me here for a second. My screen suddenly looked very different.
Okay. And then on that too, she mentioned some places that you can get the books. There's some at the library there. And that's listed down here a little bit below. Okay. So making a drop zone, like we talked about, is a huge one. Using a mudroom. If you don't have a mudroom, which lots of people don't have mudrooms, just using part of the entryway or a cove in the kitchen, something like that might help. Avoiding the kitchen counters and tables like we talked about. Using hooks and baskets. It's a real big one for people. Designating a place for all of that. Keeping clutter off the floor and the countertops daily. A lot of times people will always have their eyes to the when they're walking, obviously they have their eyes to the floor and you can see most everything on the floor. So if you're picking up floors and cleaning them up, it really doesn't take too long to kind of pick up once you've decluttered everything. Trying to spend about 10 minutes a day just picking things up and putting them away is a real good goal. And using clear containers. A lot of people want to use clear baskets or boxes. Those are really good. You can obviously see what you have in them. They're good for spices. They're good for all those type. Yarn is another one. And again, just as I said, now is always the perfect time. So doing it now is very helpful. And then Stacy, I believe, had some. Go ahead, Stacy.
Yeah, we had taken a look at some of the decluttering and organization books that we had at the library. And so what we did is we just put together a list of some of the more recent ones that are available. And I've broken them out by which ones that we actually have in the Lake City Public Library.
Mhm.
And then also other books that are available through Selco. And so there's an enormous number of books on the topic that we have available, but I just included the ones that were probably the last, published in the last probably 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So, but there are several other ones as well. So if you're interested in any of those, I put the titles, the authors, and I'd be happy to order any of those for you. Just give us a call at the library or.
I even might get one of those books. I'm always reading up on cleaning and stuff like that. It's a hard habit to start with sometimes, but it's life changing sometimes when you can find your items. It's great. I know Marie Kondo, for example, she does a lot of, if it brings you joy, keep it. And that's whatever works for you. I mean, if that works for you, great. If it brings you joy, keep it. If it doesn't, let it go. So a lot of times I say, instead of throwing it away, should we let it go? And it's a lot easier that way.
Yeah. All right, so that I'll take down. And then again, if anyone is interested in getting, copies of any of these, just send me a note in the chat box with your email or just what you'd like.
Stacy, I know you had mentioned something about storing Tupperware or those type of items, plastics with the
Yes.
covers on them and things like that.
Yes.
A lot of times my suggestion is to put them together at the time, as opposed to leaving them separately. If you put them together at the time, they're always easy to grab, obviously, and you have your cover. Anything you don't have, throw it away. That you don't doesn't have a cover, doesn't have a bottom, something like that. It won't creep up and show its face one day. Typically not, so that's what I do. Sometimes folks take on the inside of a door like a door, you can open up the cupboard door, and on the inside you can there's a little basket you can put the lids in if you like.
Okay.
And then you could put the all the items, the Tupperware items, stack those, and then the covers are all right in the door when you open it.
Okay.
That's kind of helpful sometimes too. Okay.
Yep, great.
Okay.
Do other people have questions for Cindy? Feel
I do.
free.
Okay, Donna, go ahead.
I want to know, there has got to be a better way of storing spices. Spices.
Okay.
It drives you nuts because there's tall ones and square ones and little ones and round ones, and
I know, right?
nothing works.
You don't feel that nothing works. Okay, well, yeah, a lot of times that's true because there's so many. But a turning rack, like a Lazy Susan type of rack, helps a lot of people. Whether you put it in your cupboard or whether you put it on your counter itself. If you use spices all the time, on your counter is fine. You want to keep things where you use them. You know what I mean? So if you're going to use them a lot, keep them by the stove or what have you. And then we've done spices in just clear containers with the labels on them, and they're more aesthetically pleasing. When you have them all in there, you basically literally just dump out what you have into the clear bottles. And then yeah, and then just store them that way. And when those run out, you just simply fill those up. Yeah.
Well,
One
that
thing
makes
I do,
sense, because there'd be some uniformity.
Yes, exactly. Yep, that's right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, your shelves are always about 10 inches tall, but all those damn little McCormick's things are about 4 inches, so there's a lot of
Yeah.
wasted space. They
Yeah,
make those little things you can stick to the inside of your door when you open it up. I've got 4 of those, and you can get rid of all the little ones that way, and that way you've got all of the rest of the space for the big ones. They're very, very cheap, and they're adhesive on the back.
Yep, that's a good idea. Really good
Oh,
idea.
Yeah,
thank
they're
you.
little plastic things,
Smart.
and they just snap right in there. All those little McCormick's type spices.
Yeah.
Mhm. Great idea.
Thank you. Okay,
I found that they make little stair steps that you can put inside those
Yep.
10-inch shelves so
Yep.
that you can, and then I just alphabetize them.
Atta girl.
And that,
Woman after my own heart. Yes.
but you know, it always ends up you have 2 of this, and
Mhm.
so they're still difficult, but that seems to work.
Yeah.
okay, thank
That's a
you.
good way to do it.
Good tips, thank you.
Absolutely. There was one chat, I think, down here. Did you have a
Oh.
question? Does anybody have a question there? Or Stacy, do you?
Oh, yep, I do see.
Okay.
Oh, no, somebody had just sent me a note just saying that
Okay.
they wanted a copy of the lists and things, but I
Okay,
don't see
perfect. Okay.
no questions.
Okay. I just was checking.
Yep,
Okay.
okay. And you may have one. I mean, if you click on your chat
Oh,
and pull
okay.
that
I
up,
understand.
because
what
I
you're
wouldn't be
saying.
able to see that.
Okay, no, it's again, they just want a copy of the tips. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm not pictured, but I want to ask one more. What do you do when you have family members who also need to take care of their things, particularly elementary aged children?
Rewards. And by rewards, anything, whether it's an extra hour of television or, what have you, because it's a big deal for the kids to start young and maintain their own items and maintain their own things, know where they're at. So another good thing is designating, like I said at the beginning, designating a spot for the kids. Like, this is your spot right here. I want you to take care of this. You're responsible for this. And sometimes when they have say, oh my, it's mine all by myself. And, sometimes that does work, but rewards are good for kids, I feel.
Okay, thank you.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. It's hard to get them started and excited about it. It really is. But like I said, trying to give them their own hook, even by the back door, will alleviate a lot of things. It's amazing.